Welcome back to Basic General Knowledge Voice Podcasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of physics. It's amazing how physics shapes everything around us.
That's right. Physics is basically the study of matter, energy, and how they interact with each other. It's like understanding the rule book of the universe.
One of the most famous figures in physics has to be Sir Isaac Newton. His three laws of motion are still fundamental to how we understand movement today.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of Newton, did you know that the unit of force is actually named after him? 1 Newton is the force needed to accelerate 1 kilogram of mass at 1 meter per second squared.
That's fascinating. And then there's Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. It's probably the most well-known physics formula in the world.
And what's really mind-blowing is how it shows that mass and energy are actually the same thing, just in different forms. It's like, imagine having a chocolate bar that could turn into pure energy.
That's a delicious way to think about it. You know what else amazes me? Light travels at nearly 300,000 kilometers per second. That's like circling Earth 7 times in just 1 second.
Yeah, and yet sound is so much slower, moving through air at only about 343 meters per second at room temperature. Though interestingly, it actually travels faster through solids than gases.
Really? Why is that?
Well, it's because the particles in solids are closer together, so they can pass vibrations along more quickly. Think of it like people passing a message. It's faster when everyone's standing shoulder to shoulder versus spread far apart.
That makes so much sense. And speaking of movement, gravity is another fascinating force. It's what keeps us on Earth and the planets orbiting around the sun.
Right, and the acceleration due to gravity on Earth is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared, though that can actually vary slightly depending on where you are on Earth.
It's amazing how these fundamental forces shape our entire universe, from the smallest atoms to the largest galaxies.
Absolutely. And speaking of atoms, they're mostly empty space. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be smaller than a pea.
Wow, that really puts things in perspective. I think we've covered some amazing ground today.
We sure have. And there's so much more to explore in the wonderful world of physics.